pjnet.tv Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, and we have Jake McCandless standing by. We have a bumper rolling, we are recording, and we are streaming on all available platforms. Switching to Studio 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good evening. Welcome to pjnet.tv. I'm Coach Prasick. I have the honor of sitting in this chair, which is actually a plywood bench, and being your host tonight. A special thank you to those of you joining us in the pjnet.tv chat room. You, however, could be watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter live. And if you are doing that, we are very grateful to have you join us, but we would like to invite you to pjnet.tv. If you have a desktop or a laptop, that is where our live chat room is, and there's a lot of friendly folks over there just waiting to welcome you as we wait, or we're not going to wait, to welcome Jake McCandless of StandFirmMinistries.com. Now, he is our guest on the second Wednesday of every month, and he's been in our green room for about, 45 seconds or so. So, we're Jake, did you come running? Are you still huffing and puffing?
Yeah, I am. I can catch my breath for a minute. So you're not afraid to show how the sausage is made? The plywood bench, tell them that's what you're sitting on, and
Jake, it is literally a plywood bench. My desk is literally a piece of plywood on two sawhorses. One day I'll put back up the other 5 cameras that we once had, but it's made to travel, Jake. It's made to collapse. There's not a nail. There's not a screw. Everything's held together with C-clamps so that we can disassemble it and reassemble it in the field. Yes, this is very much on purpose.
Yeah, no, I came flying in from it's my wife's birthday today. And so we just had her party, and she broke her foot this past week, and so it's a little, it takes a little longer than I'm used to getting around. So.
Well, you didn't break your foot, Jake. What is the problem?
I wish I did.
Wait a minute. We don't need to go there.
I prefer to be the stick one. It's just so much easier. So it's been fun.
Jake, have you been able to get your hair cut? I'm always intrigued.
I did, yes, legally too, So yes.
Well, not that it matters. I mean, but it's just you're still young, Jake. Give it a few years. We'll have you looking normally in no time. But for now, you're doing it.
So I just left this birthday party, and a family member comes in, and they like this whole new guy over here with me, and so they're like. So I look 20 years younger than I was, so must have been bad. So I apologize for the quarantine hair.
Well, you have wisdom beyond your years. You are, in fact, a young man, I do believe, but I am quite intrigued, and I wake up this morning, you've emailed me you have had one of those voila moments, small ball, and I'm trying to, I should have put out a survey or something. What is small ball? I came up with minor leagues for big ball. Something like that.
Dale should be the one talking about small ball.
He should.
Really. Mm-hmm. I should not be on here talking sports, but anyway, we'll go with it. So, we talked a little bit last time about just kind of the landscape of the online church stuff. I've been doing it for a couple years, 2.5 years. We were fully online campus, and then just church plant that we planted in January, and of course we had to go online because of this. And so in the process of all that, just the lesson the Lord has been dealing with me about. And so, I'm sorry I can't just give a simple answer for anything. But
we got time.
Yeah. So that's what this is for, right? So I became, I was pastoring previously where I was there for 12 years, fabulous, loved it. But I really got convicted that even though we were growing and doing good things, we still weren't creating the depth that I felt like we needed. I feel like that, the depth that comes from mentoring, discipleship, really trying to move at a slower pace and grow organically, where you build a relationship, you disciple, and then that disciple goes on and reaches someone and grow like that. And so as I had the chance to plant this church in January, that was our focus is we weren't we want to grow, we want to reach people, but at the same time we want to do it organically. Our focus is that the worship service when we gather is the time that we come in and rest and are encouraged and equipped to go out and spend the rest of our time in the week, walking with the Lord and doing the Great Commission, sharing the gospel. And so
yeah, I see that. We're going to give Jake a moment to collect his thoughts. And as we do, I want to give you a heads up. PJNet.tv tonight is for the first night implementing some improvements. Now, I know that this does not seem like an improvement maybe to you. But whoop, and there went Jake. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quick da-da, da-da, and we'll give Jake another chance. Okay, he's going to tell us what small ball is. But folks, there we go. Are you back? There you are. You're on. Well, not exactly, but
this bad sound, this noise. So obviously I was going on too long, so thanks for stopping me. But
I was going to give you a moment to collect your thoughts because you really didn't have a point, so I figured you had to go think of something.
I was going to land that plane at some point. So the heartbeat that I had was, let's reach people on a one-on-one basis. Let's grow in depth and then grow, multiply that way. Mm-hmm. And so we started with that approach, and then boom, we have the opportunity to go online. And I mean, the first service, we're like 300 viewing at one time, And it's like, oh, wow. I mean, we can really grow. We can really reach out. As we see with any online type ministry, the potential is just through the roof, right? I mean, there's no ceiling. And so we started tackling it from that point of view. So anyway, I've had the chance to sit in a lot of pastor groups during this time. And in one of them, I was sitting in there, and it just dawned on me that even though you have the potential to reach the masses online, still you've got to have a focus of trying to reach someone, right? Okay. And really got convicted that nothing had changed. I mean, we had this goal that we really wanted to seek for depth and growth. And I mean, we've been advertising for the new church plan is if you want to develop a sincere and robust faith, come here. And I mean, but then we just got, wow, we can go to the masses, we can do all this. And to really get back to what we're called to do, which made me think about baseball. I mean, right now in the major league, it's pretty much all about the home run. It's hitting the long ball. Mm-hmm. But if a team doesn't have the power that they can't hit the home runs, then they have to play small ball. They have to go try to get a base hit, steal a base, bunt, sacrifice fly, find some way to move people around the bases. And that just resonated with me as far as a pastor that was doing this online thing, as a writer, as a just content creator. I mean, you look out and you think of all of the potential that you have, but this and you want to hit this home run that just wins the masses. But we've got to be content to just play small ball, to get that base hit, to just grind it out, to reach one at a time, to grow like that. And I know many of the folks involved that are in the chat and things tonight. They're writers, they're creating content, they're leading ministries and doing those type of things. And just in our culture and just within us, we want to hit that long ball. We want to hit that home run. But I think we need to just be content to hit the base hits and just grind it out one by one, growing that way. And I think this whole online movement that we've had, which is so good, and I mean, thankful to see it. It's something fresh, but at the same time, we've still got to have that approach. It can't be just trying to reach everyone. You've got to try to reach someone.
Well, Jake, I cannot stand baseball. I really think it's a girls' game. I'm a football coach, so let me try to translate that into some meaningful context in football.
It's a running game. It's a ground and pound.
3 yards up the middle in a cloud of dust. Exactly. That is, you see, if you can't run 3 yards up the middle, okay, you can't pass either, because that means your front line isn't working. And folks, I could even go further and expound on this idea. It is the small things that matter. Let me give you a better example. Golf. which again, that's not a real dangerous sport, so I don't have a lot of respect for it. Sports I respect are those that have an ambulance standing by while the game is being played. That's the litmus test. But golf, par golf, boy, if you can just shoot par, you're just considered pro material, right? Par is actually the expected number of strokes under normal circumstances to get. That is not exceptional. That's just average. But see, it is consistently average. And folks, we've got to do the routine things well. Am I getting what you're saying, or am I making stuff up and adding to it?
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, I'm more of a football guy myself, but no, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, that's what for me, and I may be the only one. So we had done this for 2.5 years online, and really
he went away again. He was on it though. Okay, we'll bring him back in a second. He's back. You're back. You keep blinking away. You're like Genie or something.
Out, right?
We'll figure this out.
But yeah. So I mean, we've been doing this online thing for 2.5 years, and we had a lot of frustrations and discouragements. I mean, we had some wins, we had some losses, but it really kind of realized, because we would look at it, and it was just the potential was unreal, the amount of people you could reach. But then so this epiphany of where the Lord has been dealing with me about, we had to go back and reevaluate, and we're like, we need to be, just like you said, do the things that matter, do the small things, but reach the people that we're called to reach, carry out what we're called to carry out, be content with just little by little, trickling in and growing, over than trying to just overnight sensation hit a home run.
Yeah, well, we do like the Hail Mary, win in the last second. Those are more dramatic. But I could expand that context. A lot of the details are rather mundane. But without them, you cannot win. The television doesn't really show much of the front five on the line. But those are the guys that win the game. The quarterback. I love how after the game, they go to the winning quarterback and they want to interview him. And I wish I could be that quarterback just once, because I would point to all those cameramen and say, let me show you something, guys. Let me introduce you to my friends. Because these 5 guys, if they didn't do what they do and do it well, you would not want to talk to me. I don't care how good a quarterback you are, you're not very good on your back. But it is the details and the attention. The game of football, the championship teams are defining themselves right now in the off season. It's the teams that work well during the off season. So in a church context, Christmas and Easter, those are our big days. But the game is not won on those big days. It's everyday effort.
That's right. And I mean, I think even for online ministries where there, you can get hundreds, thousands of views, but still be content with that one person that you can connect and have a real meaningful conversation with that person that you can connect with, and you can assimilate into a next step in your organization or your ministry or whatever you're doing, or as an author that you want everybody to buy your books, and you want to sell so many of it. But I think the average book that's published is 300 copies. It's like the average to be sold, and so being content with, hey, you're called to do something, and it may not be the masses. I mean, you may be called to reach that one person. I mean, and that's what Jesus did, right? I mean, he had 12 guys that he poured into, that he worked with in a smaller group of 3. I love the story of the Apostle Paul as when he goes to Philippi and he meets Lydia, and it's just, I mean, just kind of, if you follow him, it's individuals he lists that he meets, and they get involved, and then they, reach somebody, and it grows like that. And I think we've got to understand that I think we live in difficult times where we also understand that's just kind of the reality of what growth is going to be for the church and for ministries.
I'm thinking in terms of church ministry. One of the classic questions, and you've been to the pastors' conferences, but I have tried to approach the subject of how exactly do we measure how well are we doing? Because what the point you're making, Jake, is very subjective. Okay, it's very personal. It's at an interpersonal level. How do you quantify that? You can have a very, very growing, vibrant ministry by your definition, but you could actually lose your job because you know what? You're just not turning in the numbers, sir.
Yes. Oh, well, that's where I was as a pastor. I mean, our church had grown to a certain size. We were able to have certain facilities, offer certain things, but we were right on the line. If we dropped any bit from that, we weren't able to, minister like we were. And I mean, I felt we were doing good things, but there's also the great things. Yeah, no, the ministries that I have a friend who does collegiate ministry, and in collegiate ministry, the thing is how big is your big group? You know, your Monday night meeting, your Thursday night meeting, and this guy went in and he just completely got rid of the big group, and they just started having small groups. And I don't think that's necessarily the answer for everybody. But he almost got fired. I mean, he really took a lot of heat, and it's taken a long time to see the results. But what he's seeing the results are, it's just people who are stronger, and then they are reaching more people in return, which ultimately you end up in the same place. I was at I did student ministry early on, and I was at a place. I mean, it was rocking. It was a very small town, 250 kids in that high school. And we had 98% of them go through our doors over a 3-year period, and you ran this large group. But if you went back and you started with 10, and each semester they reached someone, eventually you would have the same results. It just would, but you could grow a more solid base, if that makes sense. And
well, a couple of things come to mind. First of all, and I'm a statistician. Okay, I mean I look at numbers. I'm a scientist. I want to be able to verify. The problem is in church culture, we want to quantify things. So what can we quantify? We can quantify attendance. We can quantify offering. We can quantify baptisms and whatever. Okay. Okay. The problem is all of those things are focused inside the church walls. See, our mission is best measured not in the seats, but rather in the streets. Our mission is to impact the culture. We are evaluating all the wrong things. We're not looking out there.
That's very true. Very true. Yeah, it's really, there's a model out there, called, a book called Simple Church. And the approach is really kind of strip everything. Know what your goal is. Your goal is to make a fully, I think the phrase they use, fully functioning follower of Christ. Anyway, just someone who's a solid disciple, who's making disciples. And so therefore you go back to your programs and you create a process to get to that, and that's what you focus on. And so we've done that everywhere I've been, is we've created this horizontal paradigm or rubric, I guess, where we're looking to, how many are we in our connect places, our worship service? How many are there? How many are we getting to Bible study? How many are we getting to serve? And I mean, that was a little bit of a way to track it, but I mean, really the successful church is the one who are sending people out. That's places that are doing it where they're valuing starting new groups or starting new churches. I mean, I think that's a little bit of quantifying growth and getting people out of the church and working. But I mean, yeah, it's a tough thing. It's tough when the right thing in Christian growth and leadership is really the wrong thing when it comes to how you count it as successful in our society.
Well, Jake, I live in Florida and have served as the disaster relief director for 14 years of our Florida Baptist Association. And an observation that I made was during a hurricane, it is the pine trees that are the very first to fall. And there's a reason for that. See, the pine tree has a single tap root that goes very, very deep. But it doesn't go very wide. They don't have that wideness. And so the point you're making, now that is actually in contrast to the model that you just described, but here's my point. It takes both. And I think we focus too much on one. And when you focus too much on one to the exclusion of the other, you have constructed a binary formula where you cannot win.
Great point. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we've created a culture that's actually kept people from going and doing what they're called to do. And I think that's, any our churches should be and our ministries should be catalyst uh, to send people out, not to keep and build your own empire.
Yeah, we could preach a sermon on that one.
Yeah, they're preach, right?
That will preach, but we have reached our time limit, so to speak. It's not that we have a limit; it's that we have another guest. Del Didway is on his way. Del Didway on the way. He'll be coming around the mountain when he anyway. So, Jay, good thoughts. You've got me thinking now, so I'll have to set that aside for at least half an hour. But after that, I want to pontificate on some of the points that you have brought up.
Well, I think for me and you both, I mean, as we're putting content out on the web and using videos and things like that, I mean, the potential that you have with this. I mean, the potential to the amount of people that can be reached, those who are being reached. But still, I think there's value in understanding, hey, we're aiming at changing individuals' lives, not just that home run of how many views. And I think we've got to be content with that. And I have a hard time being content, so that's where a lot of it comes from, probably.
You suffer from the same testosterone poisoning that I do, Jake. I get it. All right. So we're Jake, you've got us thinking. We appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us, and we can't wait to hear from you again. Appreciate you sharing your time with us. I know you had to kind of hurry. Tell your wife happy birthday, and you tell her you've been released from your obligations here, so you can do something more worthwhile.
Yeah, time to go put some more ice on the ankle.
There you go. Thank you, Jake. Jake McCandless from Stand Firm Ministries, our regular guest here on the second Tuesday of every month. Glad to have him. What a great team we've got. We've got a great team of people in our chat room. Folks, I'm going to take a little break. We're going to try something new in the next half hour. I hope that it doesn't break. We're going to push. Okay? I've been kind of watching the meters, and we are going to push a little bit harder. And if it crashes, we'll start over and have Dale come back in. Until then, I'm going to leave you with 2 questions. What's the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? You don't have to answer me, but I hope you'll ask yourself that question. And the second question is this. When was that? You see, it's my hope and a challenge that I've accepted, and one that I ask you to accept, to never be satisfied with either.